I'm Mysteriously Recorded, and today we are doing another how-to type of video. I made one a while back on how I edit. It's a little outdated, but it's still mostly what I do. So if you want to see how I edit my comic dubs, or rather how I used to edit, actually, do you guys want an updated version of that? Click the card or it's linked down below. Today, we are talking about voice acting. I don't need to tell you I'm no pro, but I can give a few tips even as an amateur. All my advice is from my own experience or from things I have heard from others. So take it with a grain of salt. Not everyone's methods work for everyone. Before we really get started, here's a list and timestamps of all the things I will be talking about. Alrighty, first things first, you actually have to go for it. I get it, it can be scary. I still get scared and intimidated, but you can't run a race if you're not signed up. To keep with my analogy from before, getting a decent mic and audio recording software is stepping up to the starting line. You don't need to buy like a several $100 mic right away. I don't even have one that good. But you can't go super cheap if you want quality, which you do. And there's a whole range of different mics, so do your research before you buy. My dad got me mine and it suits my needs just fine, so if you need mic help, I am currently not your guy. Now, on to recording software. I suggest getting Audacity. It's free, I'm not sponsored, but it's linked down below. It's the one I started out with and still semi-used to this day. I use it for Q&As, recording makeup lines, and for pitch shifting, which I will get into later. It shouldn't take too long to learn the basics, but look up tutorials and or fiddle around with it. Okay, now that we have our running shoes on, we need to do our stretch. Okay, is this analogy getting old? Alright, now on to something else that is very important. Practice. You need it in both your acting abilities and your voices. Acting is the more important one, to be honest, because if you can't act, you will not really get anywhere. Sure, you can get away with doing some small time stuff, but if you want to go pro, it won't fly. I say even as I'm not a pro, but voice acting is just a branch of acting, so you really need to be able to sell the point of the emotion you are trying to make. Here's an example. What the hell, dude? What the hell, dude? Now, which sounds better? If you said the first, I worry about you. If you said the second, it's because of acting. So, practice. If you can do acting classes, improv classes, and or theater, do it. It helps. Again, not that I would personally know. Now, on to voices, if you want to use one that isn't your own. Honestly, it's just playing around with your vocal range and tone for the most part. See where your abilities lie and where you could go with practice. Like, I didn't know I could voice any of the boys I did until I voiced them and practiced with them. You guys will constantly hear me saying I need to practice my voices. Try to even go for the voices that you don't think you can do. It won't hurt anything, and you could surprise yourself with the voices it could lead to. To stick on the topic of voices, we're going to touch on voicing the opposite gender, since we all know I mostly voice guys. Okay, general tips whether you're trying to sound male or female. Don't make it too deep or too high, to the point where it sounds unnatural. It all comes with trying things out and seeing what sounds right. But we will also talk about pitch shifting. It's right here in Audacity, by the way. Again, don't take it to the point where it sounds unnatural. Unless that is your goal for the voice, like a demon or a pixie or something. Here's a clip of me voicing Jason Todd for reference. Unpitch shifted and then pitch shifted. Yeah, like yelling at the guy who's holding the AK-47. Yeah, like yelling at the guy who's holding the AK-47. Big difference. I typically also bass boost my deeper male voices, and that is over here and then here. Some VAs focus on impressions and others focus on original voices depending on their voice capabilities. I am the latter type. So play around with it, see who you can impersonate. But if you're looking into getting into voice acting professionally, you need to focus more on original voices, unless you're planning on replacing a well-known voice, like Elmo. Now onto something else important, hitting the tone of a character. The way I typically phrase it is letting the character's personality shine through the voice. A good example is if you go listen to my male voices. That is mostly how I differentiate between them, is with the tone, and a small bit of pitch shifting depends on who. So really study your characters and learn how to let their personalities shine through the voice. I'm trying to explain this the best I can, but it kinda came naturally to me. And vocal inflections are a big part of this too, like how the characters would say certain things. Something else I want to talk about really quickly is demo reels. They are very important if you want to take being a VA seriously. You can make them yourself if you're like me and not doing it professionally. But if you want to be a professional, get it made by a legit professional. Yeah, it will cost a lot, but you don't want a bad demo reel. More flashbacks to mine when I had no idea what I was doing. I actually took my first one down. I cringed that badly at it. I have my other old one up if you want to cringe at me and learn from my mistakes. I have actually started working on a new one. I just need to get that recorded. But typically, demo reels are supposed to be 1 minute and 15 seconds at most. And you want to put your best voices first, because that's what people will be hearing first. And if they don't listen to your whole reel, you'd want to get your best voices out there first. Other general tips are to do vocal warm-ups, one that singers use work just fine. Don't drink dairy or carbonated drinks before recording. There are probably certain foods you shouldn't eat either. Drinking water is a huge thing too. Cold water might make your vocal cords constrict though, so go for more room temperature. At least that's what I've heard. I'm going to be making some playlists full of tutorials both for voice acting and editing, audio and video, and I will link them down below and just generally have them in my YouTube channel playlists. I hope this is able to help you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I shall talk into your ear holes later. MR over and out.